Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back. On Saturday, I got so annoyed at the performance that I actually went on a hunt to find where Harley was. And I saw him slumped over a seat, staring at his phone at half-time, looking as though he wanted the ground to swallow him up after watching what was quite possibly one of the worst halves of football from this season. Would you agree with that, Harley?
Yeah, it was dreadful, wasn't it? And the sheer shock of seeing you as well. Now, I had no knowledge that Rob was coming to this game. I mean, I had my suspicions with his ties to Orient.
Oh,
but in climbing over the seats and popping over to me.
Clambering over the seats. I was a man possessed.
You were a man on a mission.
I was.
I was mid, doing my halftime kind of review.
It was Wordle, wasn't it? You were
cheery as it was, and I jumped out my seat.
You did. You kind of looked at me, kind of like very confused, and followed by, "Well, this is shit, isn't it?" I was like, "Yeah," and it wasn't great, was it?
No, not at all, not at all.
Now we were talking early today, me and Harley, and we're going to do something a little bit different than our usual kind of monthly review. We're breaking this up into sort of 3 segments, and we're going to start with one that is, well, I mean, it's just pure coincidence, but today, as we record on Wednesday, the 6th of April, marks the 50th day of having Michael Flynn as our manager. He also has now managed 10 games. And they say you shouldn't judge a season until the 10-game mark. So what do we think of Flynn at 50?
First of all, that is an absolutely superb phrase, Flynn at 50. Yeah. We've nailed that.
Thanks.
You've nailed that. You came up with it.
You said Flynn after 10 games. And I went on there on the great site that is Transfer Market, and it literally said number of days in charge, 50. And I went, this is the gods of
This is gold.
Yeah.
So, what do we think? Do you want to start?
Well, I kind of did a bit of a tally, and it's been 10 games, 4 wins, 3 losses, 3 draws, with a -3 goal difference. Which, I mean, I can only sum that up as very Walsall. And I think it's clear that he's got to the point now where he's sort of trying to figure a couple of players out. He's looking at a couple of players and going, right, are you in my plans next season? Aren't you in my plans next season? And I don't think fans will get annoyed with him at all this season, because he's such a straight talker and because he's clearly got a plan in mind for the summer. He's almost got a bit of a free hit because of, his reaction after games. He was not a happy boy on Saturday, and he was not a happy boy against Salford. And it's whenever we lose or even draw, he's not happy. And I think that's starting to seep through, that I really have taken to him because of how much he wants to win. And yeah, I think he's doing an all right job, but you can only do the job with the tools you've got. And it was clear the last couple of games that we don't have the right tools.
Yeah. I'm going to use a classic football phrase here. So get yourself ready for this. This team has a lot of square pegs in round holes. And that's a big issue. I've been waiting to pull that one out.
Did you write it down earlier and go, I'm saying this later?
Yeah, I was like, this is good, this is.
I thought, I've got to admit, when you said you were going for a phrase, I thought, bearing in mind his wins were earlier in his 10 games and it's sort of gone a bit downhill, I thought you were going for a game of 2 halves, but...
Also would have been good. But yeah, I think that's the main issue with the team. I mean, we've kind of had our manager bounce. The honeymoon period is over, and we're starting to see the meat and bones of this team under Flynn, and what's working and what isn't working. We had a few kind of results early on, barring Swindon, that were really, really positive. You know, the players clearly saw something and felt the positive energy that Flynn brought compared to Taylor. So that was good. Then we kind of get onto the issue of certain players don't suit this system. And that's become a real kind of issue because they are going to struggle.
Yeah.
Because Flynn hasn't had time to build a side that suits how he plays. He's kind of moulding some of the players into kind of players that they aren't, and he's doing the best that he can. So any kind of result that is negative, for me, doesn't really matter because it's about Flynn learning about the players that he has and whether he wants them for next season.
Yeah. I mean, we're going to go on to sort of players in a bit, but the fact that there are he's clearly telling them to do different things than they are doing on the pitch, and where with Taylor it kind of got to the point that you were like, are they doing it on the training pitch? Because he kind of loosely mentions it. Flynn has flat out called the team out and made comments about how they're not sticking to their jobs and that his 6-year-old could. And it's things like that he's doing work. But I think overall I'm happy with him, and I think he turned it around. Relegation threat has gone. He's now going to have some license to play around with the team, try a few players, and like you said, if he loses, if it doesn't come off, that's fine. I'd rather him test out the squad and maybe test out different things within the squad, so different formations, and potentially get it wrong now when there's nothing riding on it in prep for next season.
Yeah, exactly. I think he has done everything that's been asked of him.
Yeah.
He's, like you say, he's come in and that relegation threat is gone. There's no chance of us going down, really. I don't know about the maths about that, but, we can all say with confidence that we're not going.
I looked at Oldham's run of games, and I think they've got, in their final 6 games, they've got 5 of the top 6 or top 7 or something. It's not looking good for them. And Stevenage have got, I think, 3 of the top 7 as well. So I think we're all right.
Yeah, I think we're all right. And I think he's come in and he's kind of brought back a bit of that kind of winning feeling. And, no one can complain about what he's done because he hasn't done a lot. He's just done what we needed him to. And so we can all be happy and we can all kind of see progress and we can all see where this is going because he has a clear identity about how he wants to play.
Yeah.
He's a very, very likable man. And that goes a long way for me. And when he calls out the players, I really like that. He's clearly not afraid to speak his mind and be a little bit brutal because he's kind of speaking as a fan, almost. When he says these players, they're not doing their jobs, like you say, like his 6-year-old could.
Yeah,
absolutely, that is spot on, and I love that about him. So I'm really happy with him. I think most of the fans are as well.
Yeah, I'm just doing some quick maths. The quickest of all quick maths. With the team he's got over the 10 games, he's averaged 1.5 points per game, meaning that if you were to kind of multiply that over the course of the season, we would be ending on around 69 points, which is sort of over the last couple of seasons around the top 10 mark.
Yeah.
So I think, things are, he's got them it's in the right direction with, like we've said, the tools he's got with a bit of experimenting. And I kind of look at the next, 6 matches left as almost like a half pre-season where players that he knows are keeping can begin to kind of drill in philosophy a bit more and work on what they're going to do. And then those that are still potentially in his plans have got a few games left to prove it. And the others, well, they're not going to be here next season.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's nothing for him to lose by experimenting a bit.
Yeah. Yeah. So we've already kind of touched on it, but I think it is safe to say that Flynn wasn't thrilled with the performance on Saturday. In fact, he made it very clear that, I think the quote is something like, players are playing their way out of his plans. And who do you think they are?
Oh, I mean, for me, there are a few that Meniasse.
Yeah,
I think he could. I think he
brings to mind.
I think that could be one. I mean, I don't know whether that substitution was because he thought Meniasse was the problem, which I've said before. I don't think Meniasse can play in a back three. No. I just don't. He's really good in a back four, but in a three, he just seems to kind of not know where to put himself, and he seems to lose his man a bit too much.
I thought interesting with that. Sorry to cut you up, but I think what was interesting about that sub was the fact that he left White at centre back.
Yeah,
and for me, I completely understood why he left Month on, although he had a dreadful game. But I kind of felt that you knew that one of the three centre-backs was going to go off because it was a formation change. Someone was going to have to sacrifice. But yeah, it's why he took off Meniasse and left on White for me. That's the... Or even someone like Osadivian played White at right back. Or it just felt like...
It was a bit of a slap in the face to Meniasse.
Yeah.
I think the other one, I think Rodney. I don't think he's done himself any favours. I think Flynn will give him more time, but I don't see a lot in him. I think he's got a reasonable work ethic, but he doesn't seem to have, from what I've really seen of him, the best footballing brain. He doesn't make intelligent runs.
I do think, and this is going to be a very, very controversial point, and I didn't mention this to you before because I thought I want to get your kind of either he's lost his mind or, yeah, fair enough. I think Rodney should start every game until the end of the season.
I do too, but purely on the fact that Miller's not going to be here next year and I don't want him back next year.
Oh, okay. My caveat to Rodney starting was if the club effectively get the go-ahead from Barnsley or the signs from Miller that he might stay, I'd say, yes, you need to play Miller. But for me now, don't play your lone players.
Yeah. I think the only one with that is that I'd still play Shade because I don't think there's anyone who can really do that job at the moment.
Yeah, because otherwise it's Divine and
he's still alone.
Yeah.
I mean, you could maybe put Kiernan there, but I wouldn't really want Kiernan at a wing back. I don't think that's his best position. But yeah, so I do agree with you on that. As much as I've not been wowed by Rodney, I think that he still has chances to kind of show what he's about.
He's got to have a bit of a run now. Him and Wilkinson need to have a bit of time together. I think I didn't read it today, so sorry, Joe Edwards, if you are watching this for whatever reason you may have for watching this. But I think Wilkinson did an interview saying that him and Rod, that he likes Rodney and that he thinks he's a strong player. And I kind of feel that, all right, it might be a bit of a teething process and it might be a bit painful, but you've got to play the two of them. We've got them next season. I can't see either of them leaving. I can't see Rodney being sold. So I think you've just got to play them.
Yeah. I think Rodney, I think you give him the chance to the end of the season, but I would be very surprised if he's starting next season.
Yeah,
I think he'll be a squad player.
Yeah, I think he'll be a squad player. The thing I do want to kind of loosely touch on, and it's something that we were talking about earlier today. The two players we've mentioned, both have got 2 seasons left on their contracts. How do you see the summer with Fullerton and Flynn kind of going about?
I don't. The ones that are under contract, I don't see them getting sold. I just see them dropping to the background and kind of being the kind of there for depth and stuff. And maybe in January or next summer, they might leave the club if things haven't improved in their situations. But I still think they're going to get replaced. I think they are. They just are. And I don't think Flynn's going to accept Fullerton saying, "Oh well, we've got them under contract. Can you try and fit them in?" But Flynn's going to want his own players in, and he's not really going to care that much what happens to Many, SA or Rodney. So if you want to stay and fight for your place, great. If you want to leave, if that's what you want to do, we'll move you on.
Yeah, I kind of want to avoid going in sort of player by player, because the next one of these that we'll do will probably be the day of or day after the final game of the season.
Yeah.
But are there any other players that you think I don't think we're going to see them in a Walsall shirt next season?
I think Hayden White would be lucky if he keeps his position. I know a lot of people like him, and I do think his defensive work rate is good. He's a good tackler of the ball. He can run down his man, but he doesn't offer enough going forward and on the ball. And that was an issue, particularly under Taylor at right back. He'd bomb it up the pitch, but then once he got to the final third, he kind of just stop and freeze. And I think with that and the fact that he tends to kind of lose the ball a lot, I don't see him playing much next season, just because I don't think he offers enough.
I think it'll obviously, if we can keep Daniels, great.
Yeah.
But I think if we keep Daniels, I don't see White as being one of the back three that Flynn will want to use permanently. Or I don't see him as a Flynn right wing back. And that's why I don't think he will be. And the only other player that I think, I don't know how long his deal is, but I think it's the end for Brendan Kiernan.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think he's on 2 years. Because most of the players signed in the summer were on 2-year contracts. So I think Mills is the only one. I think Mills and maybe Ward are the only ones that were on a 1-year contract. But yeah, I don't think Kiernan fits the system.
No,
and I don't think he. I don't know where you'd play him.
No, I liked Kiernan. I thought at times he was our only kind of creative outlet in a team that wasn't creating much. And I think it's a shame because he almost, in a team when creativity picked up a bit, he wasn't there to be part of it because he wasn't in that system. But he will always have that goal at Vale.
Yeah, exactly. And to be fair, under Matt Taylor, he was probably one of my favourite players.
Yeah.
Because he actually fit the system. He was one of the few signings where I genuinely thought, yes, this makes sense for this formation. Because he is energetic, he is a good dribbler, he gets at defences, and he can kind of play a little bit deeper in that kind of left mid role, but he can also kind of step on the front foot and be a bit more of a left winger.
Yeah.
But Flynn, he has no interest in that kind of player, really.
No.
And he's expressed that by not really playing him. So I really feel for Kiernan, but I think he would have to move on purely on the fact that he needs to go and get some game time somewhere.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I don't see him converting to be a striker.
He's too good to sit on the bench, I think.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah. So we've kind of looked at the sort of the players and sort of the ones that we think have sort of played their way out of his plans. Are there any that you think, they're going to be sort of front and centre of next season?
So looking at maybe like trying to figure out a kind of core of the team, I think Month, definitely. Yeah, he's got another year on his contract, and he's been one of my players of the season.
Yeah, he's been more consistent. Like I said, I thought he had a really poor game, but then again, I think everyone did on Saturday. But it's quite nice going, He had an uncharacteristically bad game.
Yeah, exactly. I think Earing and Kinsella, I think they stay and they start. Earing is
a real, for me, Earing's becoming a real fan favourite, and almost him and Kinsella together almost embody what the club is. And I know that's quite a big comment to say about Earing because of the length of time that he's been here, but he shows an immense passion for the club, an immense passion for the team. And, you know, I think I didn't expect him to feature as much as he has done this season. And that's a mixture of circumstance, but also he's taken an opportunity.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't see him moving anytime soon. I mean, he will eventually make the step up to League One, whether it's with us or someone else in a few seasons. But even something like his living situation, I can't remember who it was exactly, but he lives with Rory Holden and someone else, and he says he's really happy in that situation and he wants to kind of stay at the club. And I think little things like that, little comments like that, fill me with confidence, because if he's saying that he's happy kind of living with his mates, you know, settling down, I don't think he's ever lived away from home.
No,
when he's played.
He seems settled.
Yeah, and I think he's really appreciative of the fact that the club have given him this opportunity to play football, you know, regularly and be starting every game.
Yeah.
And he can kind of settle himself down.
And he's held that place under a managerial change, which is really good to see. I mean, I would like to see a bit of rotation over the next few weeks now. I'd like to see Perry and Leek have a bit of game time. I'd like to see Rose. I think for me, I want to see Rose for the rest of the season now. And yeah, I think a couple of the younger players, I think they need to get some game time and show what they can do.
Yeah, absolutely. And then the other one, I'd say Wilkinson for me starts.
Yeah.
I think he's a cut above in League Two and everyone knows it. Like, on his day, he is fantastic. And I think he could make the step up to League One and he knows it in himself, but I think he's happy playing in League Two. So I don't think there's any reason to swap him out. And then maybe Osadibe. That's the other one.
Yeah. When it's interesting because when Wilkinson signed for us, I spoke to the Orient Outlook podcast, and they're very Paul on that is extremely knowledgeable of League Two, and especially for players that are going through like this club Orient. And he said that he feels that Wilkinson needs to be almost not a star of the team, but he needs to feel quite an important cog in the team. And I think he will definitely be that next season. I think it's taken a bit. I think with Taylor, he didn't really know where to play him. And he was so against playing a front two that Wilkinson almost filled in somewhere that wasn't that striker role. Whereas now he will be, you know, if it's him and Rodney, him and new signing, he will be leading the line. And I think he needs that kind of importance and value in the team. And that came from someone who had watched him for a couple of seasons.
Yeah, and I think Flynn and Hatswell are quite good at dealing with personalities, shall we say. Yeah. And I think Wilkinson has quite a strong one, kind of same with Osadibe. Yeah. And they've really flourished under Flynn. So I think that's something that is worth picking up on. So that they've kind of, on a person-to-person level, they've been able to get something out of these players who, you know, they're not like a Kinsella. If you said to Kinsella, any manager in any league, could say, Kinsella, you go do this, and he'd just do it. Yeah, that's who he is.
You could say to him, "We're going to start you up front today," and he'll go, "Okay," and he will just he will chase down the ball. He will try and win it back. He will just do whatever. And I think, if you can get that work rate into a couple more players, that'd be great. Where do you see Osadibe playing under Flynn? Like, what role do you think will be his role?
I think it has to be wing back. because anywhere else, I don't like it when he moves into a more traditional winger role. He did that at Salford when we changed formation, and he was a shadow of the player he was a few games prior.
Yeah.
He couldn't really get on the ball. He couldn't affect the game. I think when he's at wing back, he has this good ability to come deep and get on the ball, but he can kind of move across the pitch diagonally, and it really hurts other teams. And I don't think he can pick up the positions and do the same thing when he's playing more advanced or more centrally, because he can't move the ball from one side of the pitch to the other in the same way that splits open defenses.
Yeah. No, yeah, I agree with that. And I think as a winger, you want, if you're playing as like a 4-4-2, you want your right back almost, if your winger picks up the ball, you want them making overlapping runs, which if Osadibe does lose the ball, it leaves the defence then exposed. Whereas in the role that he's in, he's got a bit more freedom. Like you said, he's not going to bomb down the wing. He can drift in. He's got a bit more freedom, and also the knowledge that he's got 3 centre-backs behind him.
Yeah, exactly. And I think the reason he struggled centrally is because there was always a lack of movement under Taylor, and there was under kind of Dutton, and even when he played under Clark. He kind of creates the movement himself when he's in right wing back, because instead of getting on the ball and waiting for other people to do things so he can play a pass in, he's now the one doing the thing. He'll play a 1-2 or something, and he progresses the ball. When you're in that central position, especially when you're more of a kind of 10, it's very hard to progress the ball forward, because you're one of the people who should be further up the pitch. Whereas if he's starting lower down, he gets to then be that man, which I think he's better at.
Right. So we sorted the squad out. We sorted the manager. Well, he sort of sorted himself. There's only one big area left to sort, and that is, of course, off the pitch, match day experience for one. What did you think about this announcement that the club are working with a fan experience company?
I know you've got strong opinions on this, Rob, so I feel like I'm going to hand this one back over to you.
I thought I'd either tame it or let you just bat it straight back. Right. I was told this in January that the fan experience company had been hired. And as I'm sure people can tell, it was not January that it was announced. I believe was it a week ago? Week and a half?
About a week ago, yeah.
Week ago. So the end of March. Now, I think it's great, but I think it highlights the absolute core reason that the club have kind of lost the supporters in the last couple of seasons. Why didn't they tell anyone? What you've got people complaining left, right, and centre on social media. You've got people criticising Graham Whittaker for not upstanding in his role. You've got people on, up the Sadler's threads, tweeting, Facebook about it, emailing the club. Just say that we've hired a fan experience company and that they're carrying out research. We don't need to know the details of what they're doing. The fact that they've been hired, the fact that the club have acknowledged it's an area and have done something that is, quite progressive about it, just not even shout about it. Just tell someone. Just let the fans know, because we could have been talking about this 2 months ago going, right, the weekend, this was wrong, but it's all right because there are people that are analysing it. And you buy yourself much more time and much more positivity from the supporters by just announcing these things. Just tell someone.
Yeah, it gives the club a bit of, that's your rant.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're exactly right, though. It gives the club a little bit of credit.
Yeah.
To say, these things aren't right, but we are working on it.
Yeah.
So the fans now think, yes, those things aren't right, and they are working on it. I mean, whether it's the fact that maybe there's been a delay or something, or they've started putting things in motion now, and they were just a kind of analysing period over the last couple of months.
But it
doesn't matter
to research the issue. Like it's not like there's some deep underlying issue that all the fans can't quite put their finger on. It's pretty obvious. It's pretty obvious. So this research that they've been doing, just you could have done that in one day, looking on across social media and going to one match, talking to as many fans as you can get, which I'm pretty sure if you were there in a jacket that had the Walsall badge on or had some sort of, even just a lanyard, and you went, hiya, can I grab you for 30 seconds to talk about match day experience? You would have got lots of people.
Yeah, exactly.
Loads of people. And I get that. I get that these things, obviously, they're not going to sort things out overnight. And when I was told that they'd hired this company, I wasn't expecting to see things put in place until next season, because you need the time to put in plans and to put them in properly, because there's no point half-arsing it, because then that's just going to be even worse. But just, I mean, I told you, and your reply was, well, when are they announcing it? And I was like, I don't know. And then I almost forgot about it, saw the announcement and went, it's been over 2 months. And that's from when I was told. It was probably longer than that it's,
Yeah, you messaged me and you were like, remember that thing I told you about the fan experience? I finally announced it and I was like, what's he on about? Oh yeah, that thing from ages ago. Yeah. And I think it's a lesson that the club need to learn. Notice is never a bad thing.
No.
If something's going to happen a few months down the line, tell people as early as you can.
Yeah.
Because it buys you credit, and that's useful. Like it's not a difficult construct.
It's the kind of the discussion I had with Dan Moll when we were emailing about, well, a lot of things, but when this came up, he said that they didn't want to announce anything until they'd kind of got a bit more information. Personally, I don't need that information that early on.
No.
I think just saying that we have employed, hired, partnered with, however you want to phrase it, this fan experience company, this is their website, this is who they've worked with before. They will be undergoing a couple of months of research, and then later in the year we will announce what or whatever. It only needs to be a short statement to just like buy a bit of time with the fans and kind of go, all right, it may stay this way until the end of the season, but at least we know that there's someone here, or there is a company here that are analysing and working on it.
Yeah, and it all comes back to that kind of conversation we've had lots and lots of times, which is it's the lack of communication. And if you say, oh, this is happening, we've done this now, it's going to start coming into place quite a way down the line. You ran Vital for a long time. I run Sadler's News. If things are a bit slow, just put a bit of filler in there. Why can't the club just...
I started 2 months before with Vital, like 2-3 months before COVID started. It was a bit slow the first year.
Yeah, exactly. Like if just keep reminding fans that things are happening, even if it's like not regular updates. So what do you think of this? What do you think of that? Even if it's very loosely based on the subject you're talking about, because it keeps it fresh in the mind.
Yeah.
And that's easy to do. So if there is an issue with the fan experience is taking longer, say what do you think of, how could the bar be improved? Where are the kind of issues you think there is? A bit of communication, even if you end up doing absolutely naffle with that information, people feel heard.
Yeah.
And they feel like you're doing something. And that buys you more credit.
Yeah. The thing that I've noticed comparing home and away experience is, and I know going to games as an away fan is a different experience, but you know, the club have invested into a good bar for the lower tier.
Mm-hmm.
It should be heaving, and it's not.
Mm.
And the concession stands, they've got 2 in each corner in the lower tier, where it might be 2 on one side, 1 on the other. One's not open. Why? You've got,
yeah.
I mean, we can only sort of speak on like the lower tier. I've not sat in the upper or anywhere else for years and years, so I can't comment on that. But why not just open things? Or, you know, like pre-match, the lower bar should be heaving, and it is not. The concession stands can get through people quicker and should be busier, but they're not. The toilets should be cleaner and don't leak. They're not. There is. Yeah. I liked what they did, bringing on the sort of class of '84 at half time, and I know that they did the kind of the signing and the meet and greet, or the Q&A before the game. Great. I mean, for me, it's not my era, so I wouldn't go to that sort of thing pre-match. Those things are good, but it just, I don't know, it feels like there's so much potential at the club, and there is such a loyal fan base that if you put these things on, they would respond and they would welcome it. They just don't.
Yeah. Generally, nothing happens at half time.
No, I think, exactly.
Like the home games I've been to, it's probably maybe 1 in like 5, maybe 1 in like 6 or 7, where they might wheel out a few kind of famous faces or something. But that's it. There's nothing else.
Yeah.
You know, every single home game, there should be something happening at half time, even if it's something like getting some random kids to kick a ball in a net and win a prize.
Football teams and do penalty shootouts, or just crossbar challenge, or to mix it up. You've got so many basic ideas that it's just something at half time, rather than a few players half-arsedly kicking a ball about and some sprinklers and a guy with a pitchfork testing the ground. Like,
have a bit of fun with it. Get creative.
Yeah.
There's no reason not to. Just you've got 15 minutes. Do something interesting in 15 minutes. If it doesn't work, never do it again. If it does work, great, you've got something.
Yeah. And
it's as simple as that.
I kind of understand half time, because you almost don't want the fans in the stand. You want them elsewhere.
There is that to it, yeah.
So I get that, but not everyone's going in the bar or to go and get a pie, or, but I just think for pre-match, just you sort of just get there and, you have a beer, maybe 2 before the game, you take your seat, you watch the match, you go home. That's match day experience. And again, like, knowing that this company's been hired, it changes your perception when you go. Like, you sort of, since they've been hired in January, you start to look and you go, right, okay, these are little things that I've noticed, that if they do end up putting like a public answer form out there, which I don't think they'll do because they're never going to get through all the replies, but you start to kind of look at things and go, oh, I wonder if they picked up on this, or I wonder if they picked up on that. And but then the pressure's on now, because something that we've both praised is the fact that they are pushing this link-up offer at the end of the season. And I know the club tend to try and do a link-up, whether it's a couple of games quick fire over the festive period or over Easter. There's always a kind of a time where it's fit. And I think against Vale, and then going into one against Swindon, where the club know that there was going to be a huge away following, the link-up offer is perfect. It is going to boost home attendance, but the pressure's on to really nail the service at all the kiosks, at all the bars, getting people in through the turnstiles, get the real fundamentals right. I mean, I nearly didn't get in on Saturday because my ticket wasn't scanning, and they were like, "Oh, you need to go to the office," and I was like, "Come on, you can see I bought tickets, like just."
Yeah.
And it was only when I went to a steward and kind of had a bit of a moan and said, "Look, I bought 4 tickets. There's a massive queue at the ticket office. I don't particularly want to stand and queue up while all my mates have gone in." And he kind of allowed it, but just little real basic things like. And I knew that by talking to the guy on the turnstile, I was holding other people up.
Yeah.
And yeah, just sort of, they just really need to nail in these basic fundamentals for the next few home games this season, and then kick on. There we go.
Do you know what I'd like? I'm going to put this out there. This is not just Walsall. This is every football kind of club, because I've never seen it done here, especially in the UK.
Oh, okay.
You know, if you've been to America or you've watched any kind of American sports on TV, when they're like the fans are watching the game, you always have someone walking around and they have a little tray and they have some like hot dogs on it or something. Why don't we do that? So give them a PDQ so people can pay contactlessly. Stick some hot dogs on a tray and send them out during the game. You make a bit more revenue. You cut down on the time people are at halftime going to the kiosks.
Good idea.
You can get your food whilst you're sitting and watching the game. It's a win-win, because all you're doing is you're just shoving someone who's doing nothing during the football's playing. You go out there, stick your tray on, sell some pies, sell some hot dogs, sell anything you want, anything you can fit on a tray. They've got plenty. Those PDQs aren't expensive. They've got plenty of them.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, it shouldn't be. I mean, it's a PDQ. Like the whole point of it is it will make you money. So I don't think it's going to be difficult to get. But yeah, no, I think you're right. I think you're spot on with that.
I don't know why we don't do it in this country, because to me it's such a good idea. I just don't understand why it's not a thing.
I wonder if there's any rule about that.
Maybe, but like, surely that'd be a very bizarre rule though.
Yeah,
because it's just selling hot dogs or burgers or chips. Like, I get it if it's like beer or something, but something that because then it just makes life easier, I think.
What do you kind of feel going into next season you're going to expect to see as a result of this fan experience?
The key thing will be service.
Yeah.
Which I was a bit surprised at. I was like, they're going to focus on like training all the staff and stuff. And I'm like, you're a business that's been operating a long time. How do you not know how to train your staff to do relatively easy tasks efficiently? Surely just as, your managers and stuff should know how to train their subordinates to do their job properly. So that's a bit weird, but I expect the maintenance side of things to be spot on. Don't want any leaking toilets. I want the service side of it. I want the queue times to be a lot quicker. I obviously understand, queues, traffic, that's still a thing, but get through the customers quicker. Just be more on it. And that goes for the kiosks, that goes for the ticket office, just everywhere. Be more on it.
Be more on it, and have someone carry around some hot dogs that Harley can buy during the game.
Exactly. But I know loads of people who would absolutely love that, because they don't like standing up and going and getting something. They don't like standing up, to be honest.
Yeah.
If you can buy something sitting down, that's awesome.
Yeah. Or even just like patrolling at the bottom, so that all you need to do is walk down and grab it like quickly during a game.
Yeah, because I think what they do in America is they just like stick their hand up or something, or like whistle at the person walking kind of through. Yeah. You only need like 2 people in the lower, 1 across the kind of community stand and like the family stand and that, because there's not that many people there.
Yeah,
easy.
For me, the thing that they need. Lee Pomlet had said about almost this target of 5,000 home fans. And to be fair, considering the football this season, Walsall aren't that far off that, really.
No.
I don't know what the average attendance is. I know we've been hit with some real dodgy away support, because it's League Two. But
home-wise, it's about 4,500.
Yeah.
I think it's about 4.4, maybe 4.3.
Home attendance or total?
Home attendance.
Now, that, I think, is bloody good.
Yeah, it's really good.
I think with Flynn, with the prospect of better football and the prospect of a better kind of match day experience, there is hopefully going to be around 5,000 home fans each match next season. Get like you said, get the basics ready for that. If you build a service that is ready for 6,000, not saying it needs to be sellout ready, but if you get it ready for 6,000, your busy matches, you've got some buffer, and your kind of standard match will run very smoothly. Just
exactly.
I think
it was like it was the Punjab food experience thing, whatever that was. They did it a few weeks ago,
and they brought it back
by
this weekend.
But by 2:30 or something, they'd completely sold out of everything.
Yeah,
and I was like, that's a great idea, but if no one can buy anything because you haven't done enough,
I don't mind that.
Out.
I don't mind that if they learn from it.
Yeah, well, that's it. Yeah,
it
needs to be things like that.
Trial it. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. If it does work, fantastic. Next time, add 20% more stock and see how that goes.
Yeah. Do that sort of thing. Get more local businesses interested. So have a different food experience every week. Speak to maybe some local vendors and say, would you like to put on a bit of a kind of a thing for our game on Saturday?
I'd say that's successful. So now what you can do is did you go to it and get food?
I didn't.
And again, I think was it in the upper tier?
It's only in the upper. Yeah.
I don't mind that. I don't mind it at all. Maybe, like you said, try speaking to local companies and almost get them to book a slot for however many games and what games they want when the fixtures are announced, and try and fill it up. If you've got a company that says, we will be there every week, like this one that's been in the last couple of matches, they go, we will do every one of the 23 home league games. Great, get them nailed in, get it sorted. If they're going to go, do you know what, we'll do 10, you know that the idea and the system works. Find someone that's going to do the other 13 games.
Yeah. There's an area, do you know where the burger van is? Kind of, so you've got on the outside of the stadium, you've got a bit that's kind of cut out under the stadium, and there's a burger van in there.
Yeah.
Lots of people go there because it's sheltered and it's close to the entrance to the turnstiles and stuff. Why don't we, instead of having one burger van, why don't we have 3 or 4 vendors there? And put some benches out.
Yeah, you got so much space that you could do around the ground when it's dry, but we've got a prime sheltered spot.
Yeah, that's perfect there. Because that gets quite busy. Stick 2 little pop-up shops next to it for different food.
Yeah,
stick maybe like a kind of crafts beer and ales thing on the other side. There's the space for it.
Maybe the sponsors that happen to be a brewery could sort that out. But it would, and the other thing is as well, you provide it. The only thing I can think is that the club feel that they won't make as much of a profit on it. But I think especially when it's warm weather, you get people going there earlier. I don't know how it would work, whether in terms of from a business point of view, whether it would turn people away from buying in the stadium, which means that there's less profit, or I don't know, but surely there's a way of working it so that it profits the club as well.
Well, the thing is with that, what you do is you get that person to agree to a contract. So you can either do it one of two ways, I would imagine. You can either say, we want a figure up front for you to have this space, and you keep all the profits, and we have an upfront fee. Or the other way of doing it is you say, we want a percentage of the profit you make. So you can have this area, but we want 20% of everything that you make.
Yeah.
So they get to make more business. We get a slice of it.
I know when I was working in theatre, if you were a touring production going into a theatre, you would often have to pay almost like an upfront and then profits. It'd be split. But like I said, Lee Pomlett's a businessman.
I was literally about to say that.
You can, now that you have someone running the football side of the company, focus on these profits. I mean, again, with the Punjab, is it Punjab Street Food Company or something like that?
Something like that, yeah.
Like, they're going to be making money because they are in a prime spot where fans are going, yeah, let's try it. The club are going to make it, it's profitable for everyone.
Yeah, the thing is, they wouldn't go and do it if there was no money in it.
No.
So there is money in it for that business, which means there's money in it for us.
Yeah.
And he sat on the board of 40 companies. You're not a chump. Doesn't do that. He's clearly a good businessman, and he should be able to smell the profit in this. If we can see it, I did BTEC level 3 business, and I can see it. I can see it. So as someone who is very successful at what he does as a businessman, surely, he can see it as well.
Is level 3 GCSE or
equivalent to an A level?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did A level business, so look, Lee, we're right here waiting for you.
I mean, if he does want to sign us up as heads of business, I am more than willing to do that.
Look, I've been watching a lot of Dragon's Den recently. I feel like I've got this.
Yeah, exactly. And we what we're doing right now is we're giving him ideas for free. That's not very businessman-like, is it? I think we need to start, charging.
Yeah. Do you know what? I don't mind as long as they actually do something.
If anyone at the football club is watching this, they're going to have to start paying money to use our ideas. We'll start a Patreon. You can donate to us for our great ideas, and
we'll just give you business ideas. Now, Harley, be honest. What football game have you got on in the background?
I've got Chelsea Real Madrid. I was wondering when you'd pick up on the fact that I kept darting my eyes.
It sort of started a little bit to begin with, and then the last couple of minutes, it's been obviously something exciting's happening.
Yeah. Well, Real Madrid have scored 2 goals in quick succession, and I was just it caught my attention.
Oh, so you're telling me you were coming out with this business gold whilst being distracted?
Yes.
Wow, that is. Can you imagine if we were paid to come out with these business ideas?
Can you imagine if we put all of our concentration and attention into these things? We'd be unstoppable.
Absolute force of nature. And I don't feel that we need to get involved in the football side because I'm that happy with Flynn.
Yeah, exactly. We're just there to make some more money so he can sign some more players.
Yeah. My final business note will be, I think the only thing that I feel that potentially a lot of these things need to be done in the summer, set up for the following season. So I was quite happy that they bought in the company to kind of do food, and I'm glad that that's come back again because it shows that they're listening to the fans. It was popular. It's been brought back. I think, my big thing for next season will be, and actually for the rest of this season, you're going to have a couple of increased attendances given the nature of the games that are coming up. Get the basics right. Start putting in. We're not asking for a huge circus before the game. Just get the basics right and kind of use it as a catalyst to build so that next season, if you want 5,000 home fans week in, week out, get a a stadium and a match day that can easily accommodate it? Because at the moment, it feels like it's.
I think I can simplify that to make it even simpler for the club.
Go on. Are you going to go back to your previous comment?
Don't run out of Balti pies or beer. That's it. That's all we care about, to be quite honest. As long as you've got those two things, we're quite happy.
Yeah. Well, I don't think there's anything left to say.
I don't think you can top that.
I'm just looking at what day the actual season ends on, because I ain't got a clue. 7th of May.
7th of May.
Right. What are you doing on the 7th of May?
I don't know. Hopefully being at the football.
I kind of meant in the evening. Shall we try and do something as the game finishes, or potentially the following day?
I think we should.
Let's do it. And then, we'll endeavour to think of something creative over the summer.
We'll find things. There's always stuff to talk about. I mean, we've spent 15 minutes discussing business ideas for the club. That's a tangent we've gone off. There's always gonna be more tangents, Rob, I think, with us.
Yeah, I mean, this final section has been possibly the longest of the three, because it started with you letting me off the leash to have a proper moan, which I like to do.
You do, yes.
And then you coming out with some cracking ideas.
Chelsea have scored.
Have they?
Yes.
So is it 2-1 then now?
It is 2-1, yeah. It's been a very good first half.
We're bringing you live scores that you'll watch after the match has finished.
There you go.
What more do you want? On a scale of 1 to 10, how good was the goal?
It was pretty good, and it was onside. It's a nice header from Havertz as well. It's a good ball whipped in.
That's it's always a good sign with the
goal. A lot of headers in this game. Yeah, exactly. So we're men of many talents. We can do all sorts of things. We've got a lot of strings to our bow. League omelette.
Yeah. Look, you know where to find us. We're not that difficult to get a hold of.
Exactly.
Yeah. Maybe one day the club will change their policy and we'll be allowed to talk to someone from the club. That'd be a win, wouldn't it?
Exactly. And we'll have little people with trays.
Yeah. But for now, folks, you're stuck with the two of us. Thank you. We'll be doing a Q&A in a couple of weeks' time, and then obviously a season roundup followed by a end of season Q&A, no doubt about it. And then we will endeavour to come up with stuff that is a little bit more creative over the summer. We don't know what
exactly,
that is, but
we'll figure it out.
Yeah, after hearing our last 15 minutes, be fine. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
Harley,
we've shown you.
Thank you again for coming on, and we will chat soon.
Always. Thank you very much. Thank you to everyone watching. Have a lovely end to the season,